Welcome back, and I'd like to continue with the scheme of assimilation, i.e. the interaction of magma and its surrounding, its country rock. And this specimen here is from the Canary Islands, in particular from the island of La Palma. It's from the about 3,000-year-old Las Indias eruption in the south of the island on the active Cumbre Vieja ridge. And this one is particularly intriguing. It's a basanite matrix, rather bubbly, so it's not a lot of crystals, but there is some olivine is in there, some pyroxene. But the really exciting portion or part of this rock is the light-colored material here, and this is frothy, so it looks like pumice. But in fact, it's actually not an igneous pumice in the classic sense. It turns out to contain quartz and other sedimentary minerals. I should perhaps add that there's no quartz as a igneous mineral forming, no primary quartz on most of the Canary Islands, including La Palma. And therefore, if you find quartz in these rocks, is very intriguing. And besides that, we also did some oxygen isotopes on these, and it turns out that the white material not only contains quartz, but it actually also got very high oxygen isotopes, much unlike the matrix, which got very normal mantle-like igneous oxygen isotopes. So these are in fact sediments, and most likely these are sediments from under the island. There may even be pre-island sediments. So these are ocean crust materials that have been picked up, and they have been heated up, and in the process they melted and they got plastic, and this is what we see here. Let's see where we can go a little closer even. So we see the frothing up in this sedimentary material. It's quite strong and it's breaking up. You see how it's separating here, for instance. Certain portions of it have already partly separated, at least on this cut. And if we look a little bit further down here, we see that there are some large swirls, some bubble trails and bands that seem to be deformed in this fashion as well. And this would lead to quite some explosiveness potentially, and indeed part of the Las Indias event was rather explosive, and there's also some indication for phreatomagmatic eruptions. So there is some case to be made that there could have been some volatiles, maybe pore water added from these sediments to make some of these eruptions, even on the usually calm Canary Islands, a little bit more spectacular and a little bit more explosive. So we called these pumices that look like pumices but are actually a foreign non-magmatic material. We call them Xeno-Pumices, foreign pumices, because they're xenolith, but they look like pumice. But they're not to be confused with white pumice, like, for example, that's erupting partly in the sequences, in the older sequences on Tenerife. There at Montaña Blanca, there we have an igneous pumice, but this one doesn't contain the same amount of quartz. Actually, it contains no quartz, the Montaña Blanca pumice on Tenerife, and it has very regular igneous isotopic signatures for oxygen, while this one here has very high values, well above 10, which is more characteristic of the oceanic sediments. So here I'll close with a beautiful shot on this rather spectacular, magnificent texture. And I say thank you for your attention, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.